Beautiful. We're going to get emotional, right? I think we should get emotional.
Let's try.
Dealing with this sort of subject, of course, with the great His and Hers 2009 film, you had 70 women from the Irish Midlands dealing with, just how they dealt with their sons and their boyfriends and their husbands and their fathers, all those kind of different things. Here, you've kind of, it's almost like a sequel of sorts, because you've moved to Oklahoma City, the manliest city in the States, they call it, to talk to sons and their mothers. Was it sort of, to you, in your mind, a kind of a different angle, or was it a sequel? I don't know what way you came to make this.
Okay, so was it a sequel? No. Has it become a sequel? Potentially, because some people are saying that. So first and foremost, I went out to make a film completely different in many respects, because I wanted to study the impact that the mother figure has on masculinity. And as I explored that and I researched it, it actually became quite heavy and dense academically, which is not me. And I would have been totally lost, to be honest. And I wouldn't have enjoyed it. So essentially I was drawn to what I know most and or experience most, and that's relationships. And my own relationship with my mum did start to inspire it again. And people look back on His and Hers, and I suppose what resonates with them for a lot of people are those last scenes where it was the mother and the son. But of course you're right, Paul, it was all about women and their various relationships with men throughout life. So people might look at that and think, oh, he's back to the mother character. It was the tail end of that film, but this moves it slightly forward, and the genesis was genuinely something a little bit different, probably a little bit more academic, and yet I fall back into a territory that I'm comfortable with. But also it excites me, and I feel energized by it, and I do enjoy it. I enjoyed the camaraderie that I had with the people that we met along this journey.
Well, I was thinking too, it surprised me when I sat down to it that it was in Oklahoma and not Ireland. And I mean, I guess, I don't know whether part of it was the Irish mother is a little bit complex and a little bit dark and a bit dangerous for most people to go into. And it could not but be a kind of a tough work. Or was there a decision based on anything else to go to America instead of, concentrating on Ireland? Was it a universality?
Well, it was actually the opposite. I wasn't afraid of the mammies, because don't forget, one of the things I was worried about was the male perspective, because I thought I would got something going here with ladies. I had a rapport, it was working well, and I was worried, will I have that same interaction and that same level of spontaneity and I suppose comfortable nature with men. So that was already a fear of mine. Secondly, I did want to do something a little bit outside my comfort zone. I thought, okay, Midlands, that's where I was from. I thought, okay, I connect with that world. I understand that world. I kind of also know it's underexplored, blah, blah, blah. But here I wanted to try to be a bit braver. I knew I wasn't going to be going into the depths of jungle or anything like that. But America seemed different. It seemed more complicated. I only know it from the movies, really. Okay, I've been over and back a few times, but it seemed in my head a little. I certainly was worried about it. I genuinely was apprehensive. Will it all work out? Will I connect with them like I do with, my own folk back here? Will it? Anyway. So I think it was actually a little bit braver of me. Now, other people might say, yeah, that's a cop-out. It's America, we own it. But then what we discovered was, okay, so we had this big world of America. Now, how are we going to hone in on where we actually go? Because, of course, the budget would only allow us to go to one particular spot. So I wanted to create the film with this radio show host and this structure around a talk show, a phone-in show. And I literally got onto YouTube and I put in small town radio show host program, whatever. And out popped Joe Cristiano. He was the very first person. People probably wouldn't expect that, given, he only had 6 views, for example. But for some reason, whatever line of words I put into that search, it popped Joe out. He made me laugh. I listened to the whole show. He's a libertarian politician, or not politician, but a commentator. And I laughed along, and he was all talk about the Italian, and he was talking about cannolis and the women around him and blah. And it just, anyway, put him in my notebook, but I presumed we would find someone else. But after 6 weeks research, I ended up coming back to Joe. When we rang him, we discovered he wasn't in New York, as I just assumed he was, given his wonderful Woody Allen-esque kind of demeanor and Italian New Yorker accent. He was living in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so that was a bit of a shock to start with. And then as we investigated further, we thought, wait a minute, this is kind of interesting. It's just recently been voted the manliest state in a random magazine poll of, gun touting, pickup truck using men. And so it all kind of started to fit into place. And that's how we ended up in Oklahoma. Not that short a story. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. No, because I was thinking that the kind of construct of having Joe's the Joe show as the kind of hook for everybody to phone in. I mean, it works incredibly well, but it must have been a huge amount of work to set it up. That not only have you got to get somebody natural in front of the camera, but now they're going to have a supposed phone in live while you're with them in a room while the radio show is on. I mean, was that quite difficult to pull together?
It was. It caused us a lot of problems, technical problems, as well as just, things like Joe is a wonderful talker, but his natural, I suppose, his interests, should I put, don't lie particularly in this area. His own mum had passed away many years ago, and I suppose he found it harder to connect with that. He would openly admit, he'd found problems. So he would deviate often onto subjects about the latest, motorbike. He was mad about motorbikes, or drag racing. He was into drag racing and all these kind of exotic sports. So every so often we'd have to pull him in and hold him. And so when we hung up with Joe, there were occasions when I would go out and redo an interview, or not redo it. I would continue, or I would have made notes. So I would go, when I say go out, because I have to go to the air-conditioned car, because Oklahoma during the summer is hot. So I would go out and I would kind of backtrack a bit and go back over elements of what we'd covered. This was the element of cheating, but that's creative documentary making.
Very last question, because I've got to wrap it up very quickly.
Yeah.
4x3, you're shot it in?
Yes.
Yet most of the people are 16:9. Was there a reason just to ape a certain kind of period of documentary filmmaking? Was it to sort of
I tell you,
TV
the 4x3 aspect ratio, which all came out of the radio show aspect, and I wanted it to be intimate. And I thought, if we're focusing, the majority of shots, or the most important shots, are going to be those close-ups when the gentleman on the telephone. And if we have all this negative space around them where there's nothing else, it might distract. So that's why I kind of honed in on the 4x3. Nothing more than that, really. I'd love to think it harped back to another era, but I'm not that clever.
Rock and roll. I've been giving the friendly finger. Lovely to talk to you, man. Yeah.
Lovely,
really
Paul.
nice to talk to you.
Yes, all the best.
Hopefully I'll catch you again soon.
Yes.
This is quite a stretch now time-wise, but brilliant work. So I'm hoping that your budget for the next one will be quite quick and.
Well, I'm already kind of in the process of making that one. It's a real art project.